Hey everyone, it's Jessica. Welcome back to the Barney Homestead. I am in my kitchen today and I am going to attempt to process some of my pumpkins that I grew and make pumpkin puree. So I thought I would show you guys the process that I go through to do that. Never done it before, so maybe it'll be a big fail. We'll see. I think it'll be okay though. The recipes that I've read, it seems to be pretty easy, so we'll see how it goes. Before I start though, I wanted to share the pumpkins that I grew. So this is Fairy Morse, and it is a small sugar pumpkin. That's what it's called. I actually got these seeds last year in October when I was visiting my parents in Arizona. Due to the pandemic, there were like seed shortages everywhere, and my mom and I happened to go into Lowe's one day and they had tons of seeds. So I snagged these. That's what I grew. I had 2 plants. I got 9 total pumpkins, I think. So pretty good for my first try. And the description of these says, early and the best all-purpose pumpkin, round 8-inch fruits are perfect for carving, and sweet, fine-grained flesh is wonderful for cooking. So sounded like what I was looking for. We'll see how it goes. First things first, I am going to wash off the skin of the pumpkin just with some damp paper towel. I also have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. And I guess I should mention, I looked at a bunch of recipes. The one that I am going to use is by Alton Brown. It was found on Food Network Kitchens. Most of the recipes I saw said that for pumpkins, you want to roast them between 350 and 400. So this recipe that I am using is for 400 degrees. So my oven is preheating to 400 right now. And all you basically do, the recipe said, is slice them in half, put some salt on them, put them on a baking sheet, and let them roast for 30 to 40 minutes. Once they are roasted, you are going to puree. You're gonna let them cool for an hour, scrape out the flesh, puree it, and you can either use it right away, store it in the fridge for, I think it's at up to a week or 2, or freeze it. That is my intention, is to freeze. There's no way I could use puree from 9 pumpkins in a matter of a week or 2. So I am hoping to preserve a lot of it and use it throughout the winter. It lasts 3 to 4 months in the freezer. So that is the plan. All right, so I've got my pumpkins cleaned and got my cutting board. I am going to chop off the top first. And so far it looks pretty good. I'm really excited for this, guys. Really, really excited. Hopefully my knife goes through. Oh yeah, these are feeling pretty good. All right, moment of truth. Well, a seed just popped out, so that's exciting. I'm gonna peek first. It looks really good. Looks really good. So I am going to first start by scraping out the flesh and the seeds. And I'm just gonna put it in a bowl that I have right here on the side. Wow, there are a lot of seeds in here. So that's exciting. I should have a lot of seeds to use for roasting as well. These did really good too. I actually pulled these plants out yesterday in my garden. They had ended up wilting really bad, and I wasn't sure if it was from powdery mildew. I suspected that maybe they had ooh, that could have been bad, squash vine borers earlier in the season. But I didn't really see, I didn't see too much evidence of it. But eventually the vines just started to look really, really bad. So I pulled the plant. When I pulled the plant, I definitely confirmed that there were indeed squash vine borers in the vine. They weren't there anymore. They had, had their little snack and then buried themselves in the ground. So I would say I'm pretty impressed with these seeds because, you know, they definitely had powdery mildew. I know that for a fact. I wasn't sure about the squash vine borers, but upon pulling the plant, I could definitely see that they did. So I think these did good with resisting, you know, just some of that pressure that they were under. All right, so I think that's as clean as I'm gonna get this half. I think if there's, that means my oven's preheated. I think if there's anything left after it roasts, I can easily probably scrape it off before I puree it, but there's really not much left. Is anyone else like me, like a nut about that stuff? Like I have to have it totally clean, otherwise it gives me, just makes my heart beat a little bit faster. I'm trying to get over that, so I'm trying to tell myself, Jessica, it's okay, it's okay. But I'm curious from you guys, are you looking forward to fall? Are you not looking forward to fall? I'm here for it, I'm ready. I'm ready to start carving pumpkins. My husband and I, AKA me, carve pumpkins every year. So he actually helps me find the pumpkin template that we're gonna carve, and then I carve it. I get super into it. I like to light them up on my front porch, and I really enjoy it. It's something I did my childhood growing up. Didn't do it in my early adulthood, but now in the last couple of years, it's been something that I really look forward to and really enjoy doing. It definitely is a way for me to help express my creativity. So let me know in the comments below, are you all about the fall festivities, or are you hoping summer holds on? Are you hoping we bypass fall completely and go to winter or spring? Let me know in the comments below. I'm definitely, like I said, looking forward to it. All right, so I've got my first 2 halves cleaned out, and all the recipe says is to sprinkle a little bit of salt inside. So I will take some kosher salt, sprinkle some salt inside, and put it flesh side down onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. So that is what I got. I am going to prep the second one, and then we will put them in the oven. Okay, so I've got my second one cut and cleaned, and now I am just adding that salt. And I'm gonna put these flesh side down. Let me rinse my hands really quick. I'm gonna put those flesh side down onto a baking sheet right there. And next I am going to pop them in the oven. It says to put them in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, and then around 30 minutes, pierce with a knife or a fork, and when it feels tender, they are good to go. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will be back once they are ready to come out of the oven, show you what that looks like, and then they gotta cool for a little bit, and then we will puree them. Okay, so I've got my third pumpkin prepped on the next baking sheet, but look at how many seeds I've gotten out of 3 pumpkins. It's an entire little bowl full. So I'm excited, I'll be roasting those next. And the pumpkin is about to come out of the oven. It has been in there for 30 minutes. When I checked it, it wasn't quite done, so left it in there for about another 5 to 7. I think 37 minutes was what it's been in there for. So I'm about to check it. All right, so just pulled my pumpkins out of the oven. They have been roasting at 400 for 37 minutes, and I am going to check their doneness. Tip for you, when you go to check doneness of things, if you are a cook at home, even occasionally, you always want to use the same tool to check doneness. You eventually start to get used to how it enters the food that you're checking, and so you can really tell, you know, consistently across things that you bake or cook, what the doneness level is. So I use this little paring knife here. So all you want to do is pierce in and it should easily go in. This is very easily sliding in, barely any pressure. So those look good. And then I'll check this one. Yep, same thing. So I can tell with this knife, they're all entering the same way. So now we let these cool for an hour and then we'll process. All right, guys, so we are on to the last step of making the pumpkin puree. So my pumpkin halves have cooled for an hour, so I can now handle them with my hands. And all I'm going to do is scrape out the flesh and add it to my blender. I'm using a Vitamix. If you don't have a blender, you can use a food processor as well. So just add it in there, you don't add anything else. And then I'm going to go ahead and process it on the, blend it up with the Vitamix stand. And that is it. So first I'm going to, again, scrape out the flesh and add it to my blender. So the pumpkin flesh comes off really easily from the skin, I'm noticing, which is great. I love the smell of just roasted squash. I'm a big fan. Butternut squash, acorn squash, all of it. I grew butternut squash this year too. You can see a couple in the back there. And I have a couple still processing in my backyard. Curing in my backyard. So I'm just gonna keep going on these, and then I will pick back up with you guys once it's all in the blender. Okay, so I have got 2 pumpkins in here. It's almost filled to the top. I'm gonna wait to add the third one in the next batch. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid on and process it until it is smooth. So I'm going to check it, and it looks perfect. So I don't know how well you can see. It is perfectly creamy. And should I give it a little taste test? Wow. It is so good. The little bit of salt that you add, definitely, it doesn't taste salty. Whenever you salt food, it usually brings out the natural flavor in the food. This is so good. Wow. Wow. I can't believe how easy this was. Wow. I could seriously eat this by the spoonful. Wow, I am really excited that I decided to, 1, grow pumpkins, and 2, make this with them. So make the pumpkin puree. So next what I'm gonna do is freeze it. Now I'm going to use freezer Ziploc bags. And I'm going to freeze it in 1 or 2 cup portions. I need to see how much fits in the quart bags that I have. And that way you know how much you need for recipes. Generally speaking, recipes are going to be 1 or 2 cups, or you can at least put it in half and double the recipe. So that is my plan. So once I get this portioned out into the Ziplocs, I will show you how I prepare to freeze it so that it lays flat and not just like a gushy mess in the Ziploc bag. Okay, so these are ready to go in the freezer. So these are, again, freezer quart bags. I portioned it out. I got 3 bags of 2 cups each. And so what I did was laid it down, got the air out, made them flat, and I have them on these baking sheets. I'll put these baking sheets in the freezer and let them flash freeze for about an hour. And then once they are flash frozen, I can just lay them and stack them in my freezer. So laying it like this as opposed to the bag upright really allows you to do a little bit of space saving, and it just is nice and neat in the freezer. And then you can also label the date that you made them so you know when you need to use them by. Well, thanks so much guys for hanging out with me in my kitchen today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video here at the Barney Homestead. And I hope you picked up a couple tips and tricks along the way. And just thanks for cooking along with me today. I am thrilled with the results that I got from this pumpkin puree recipe. It tastes amazing, and I know I am going to enjoy using this come the fall and winter months, especially when there's nothing growing in my garden and I can still pull out some garden goodness from my freezer. I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later.